how AI may destroy online businesses. Plot twist I wasn't expecting. The AI business model may destroy itself.
This is from Hank Green, the beloved, who actually is battling cancer right now. So let's pray for the man.
Oh, man. Prayers up for him.
All right.
That's sad.
Yeah, but here we go.
Way to kill the vibe. Go ahead. That's not funny.
Very mumuch about how this like new AI business model could totally destroy itself, just like eat itself into oblivion, like a Ouroboros of code. Because the idea that like ChatGPT and Bing can take on Google is like, look, now instead of getting a page of search results where you get websites that might have information that you can click on and then go to the website and read the content and also see some ads so that the person who wrote the content can get paid.
Right.
Instead, Bing will just be like, hey, here's the information you were looking for.
So this is basically the model of every content creator.
Yeah.
Right. Like you guys watch, and except a big shout out to all of our monthly premium partners who actually support what we're doing with a monthly contribution, which we really appreciate. And if you're not a partner on Patreon, you should be. But there's folks who support in that way. There's folks that have YouTube Premium, which is no ads, and that pays creators a bit more because it's direct. I think $10, $15 a month. Divvy it up, you get paid more per view, and folks who YouTube Premium watch. But when the average viewer is watching, they're just watching the ads. And so if there are no longer any ads because there's no longer information needed from creators, then you just kind of destroy the whole thing.
Yeah, and this is the premise is that when you look up something right now online, you get a bunch of search results. And all of these are different blogs and articles. And a lot of them, this is the online business model, which is you create a blog, you create an article answering these questions, showing the research. And usually, if you notice, if you read blogs and articles, somewhere in there is a call to action to participate in what the business has going.
Right.
So even outside of the ad business model, which is ads automatically play before your video or automatically play and get placed with inside your article, there's also the fact that people write articles for their business and then they plug their business. So like a big one would be like vidIQ. A lot of YouTubers use them and they will write all these, what's new about the YouTube algorithm.
Yep.
And at the end they're like, hey, and we also solve this problem for you. So go use our service.
Go use our service. Yep.
So he's this is the premise. If people don't have to click into that and they just get the answers answered. So not just ads, but also businesses aren't getting that traffic to their website.
For right on the website, nobody goes anywhere. That's great right now, but Bing pulled that information, the like fact that you needed for your thing. It pulled that from places, right? It pulled it from people who wrote stuff. And they wrote that stuff because they worked at companies that paid them to write stuff because they were making enough money from the ads that they could pay the writers. Bing, my buddy, you're not going to have a business if you put all the content creators out of business. Right?
So what do you think? Someone's saying, hey, like, why not just adopt to the times? Which we do and we have.
I mean, yeah, everyone has. But he's saying, what's the alternative?
Yeah.
Obviously, something will change. It must, right?
In what sense?
Like if blogs are no longer relevant because the ChatGPT or the Bing system is able to pull up the information without showing you the blogs, people aren't going to write blogs. That's the whole point. They're not going to create more content. So then there would have to be a new business model in which people are giving out information and then converting people into their offer or into the back end. So if we're going to say, get with the times, we're going to be like, well, there's just nothing invented yet. There's just like Bing is just putting these content creators out of business. And then what his point is, it's not that the content creators are going out of business. He's actually saying the AI will also then go out of business because there will be no more content creators to create the content because the AI is just pulling from all the content online.
Right.
So if people aren't creating content, then it's like, it's just eventually going to eat itself.
Yeah. Or the content creators use the tools at their disposal to just streamline their process of creating content and make it more efficient for them.
True. And we were talking about this earlier today is then companies are also cracking down, like Amazon, cracking down on AI written books. So there's also this battle that while we're saying let's get with the times. Let's be modern. And I honestly thought that was my go-to.
Mm-hmm.
My go-to was like ChatGPT came out. Let's go write a bunch of books, not the one that you're working on, but like children's books with ChatGPT and then sell them on Amazon. And you were like, hey, I did a couple more minutes of research and found out that Amazon is cracking down on people that are writing AI books.
Yep.
So it's not even letting us get with the times.
Yeah.
So there's also this weird parallel.
It's a gray in between spot because Amazon, I think, is trying to prevent people from like highly searchable SEO types of books that you can just create on ChatGPT at scale and just make a bunch of them, and then but that's not lit either though. That's not lit either because that's like freaking drop shipping. Like it just becomes another
scam.
Meme. Yeah, it becomes drop shipping is not really a scam.
There's 19-year-olds writing books that have nothing to do with the book,
right?
And then the book is out, and then people are reading this book.
The different types of elephants. Write me a 3,000 page, 2,000.
You just start writing books for autistic kids,
right?
You know what I'm saying? How is like. What 1 million different types of snakes?
You
and the kids are like,
that.
yes, buy now.
You can't say that. Shout out to Palladians for the super chat. Yo, you're out of control right now. Yes. And so like when you do that, then I don't think that's very creative. But if we're using tools at our disposal to come up with a title for a video or come up with an idea for a thumbnail, that's totally different, right?
Yeah, which is also like I've heard this arbitrary like. Go ahead and try to come up with a title for a video. Like it's stuff we've already done. We come up with better thumbnails, better titles.
Well, when you were gone, me and Chris were definitely getting help from ChatGPT for titles.
Look at that.
For sure.
Praise
And
God.
they were good. And we were able to maintain all of our output. And so we would come up with a title and then we'd like run it through ChatGPT and be like, okay, now make it 50 characters or less. And it was working, especially ChatGPT 4, which is good. Hey, thank you so much for subscribing to our newest YouTube channel, Mastermind My Business, the channel where you get access to information on how to create, how to grow, and how to learn. But I wanted to show you something kind of crazy. Over 71% of the people that watch this channel are not subscribed. Please consider subscribing, turning that bell notification on so you don't miss anything. All right? I appreciate you. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think there's a way where instead of it being the AI creates the content and then puts content creators out of business, it could be the content creators are just using AI in ChatGPT 4 as a tool to do some of the heavy lifting that's not fun to do.
Yes. I think Hank Green's idea is a decent conspiracy theory. Like it's kind of a fun idea, but I think it'll evolve beyond that. And I do think ChatGPT and AI is a necessary thing to start implementing as freelancers, as creatives, as business owners. One way that we've been implementing it is transcribing. So I downloaded a Chrome extension to transcribe the main channel videos or any video really.
Yep.
Take the transcription, drop it into ChatGPT. I tried out a few different prompts inside of ChatGPT and finally got the right prompt that it wrote a newsletter summary of the video using Ruslan's kind of voice. So we're able to scale what Ruslan's already doing, the content he's already creating, put it in written form, and then put out newsletters with 3 stories in a matter of an hour that would typically take 3 to 4 hours to create that much content.
Right. And that's based on the content being us using ChatGPT as a tool. So here's an interesting take that I appreciate. He says, the problem with AI is it doesn't create, it iterates, it doesn't think, it interpolates and networks nodes. Writing a book by AI is simply cutting parts of what's already done and reusing it. So we're basically saying two different things, right? So I would agree with him when you say, write me a book about animals, and you just, you know what I mean? Versus saying, take this YouTube video, transcribe it, now put it in an email. Now make sure that you use the same language, but make like this specific prompts you're giving it to take my video, my ideas, my words, transcribe it, convert it, turn it into a more easier read than the way I speak, which is not going to flow well in a writing set, right? So you guys see what I'm saying? Like that's a different tool, and I'm saying I think there's a like massive upside of using it in that sense. Now, by the way, there's artists in here, and the artists in here are not happy about it. I don't know how to navigate that aspect of it. Like if you're a designer, and it's like, well, now you got DALL-E, now you got Firefly, now you got Canva.
What's that other one? That other one that's really good. That's Discord based.
Oh, I've heard about that one too.
I forget what it's called, but that one's the best right now.
Is it?
Yeah, for the image. I want to kind of figure out how to get there. But
and there's limitations on that too.
I experimented over the weekend with this idea. I asked ChatGPT because I was like, I just had my baby. Let's write some kids books. And sometimes the hardest part of writing a kid's book is getting an idea for a story. So I started with a really basic, hey, write me a children's book for the ages of 1 to 3 years old around a Christian value. I kept it like super generic. And it pumped out an entire story from scratch. I had no input whatsoever. And it was kind of cheeks.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was just like generic. It was fluffy. It was kind of whack. The second one I did, I actually wrote out a very in-depth prompt for a concept of a children's book I've had for a while. And it pumped out something really, really good first draft that I can then expand upon. And I had concept for how the story would play out, what the concept of the story was. And I gave it like a paragraph and it pumped out like a children's book worth of stuff. And I sent it to you and it was actually really, really impressive. Now with the images, because I'm like, oh, let's go to Firefly, Adobe Firefly, to pump out images for the children's book. Now that's where it got a lot harder. The Firefly, at least, I don't know about the other imaging AI, is that it pumped out images that were very flawed. So I was like trying to get a lion and a lamb in the same image, and it made the lamb look like a lion. It was like it gave a lion 2 tails. Just going through it, it was very cumbersome, but it pumped out pretty amazing art that was still flawed and it wasn't perfect. And not to mention Firefly says you can't use it for commercial use. So I would actually argue, I come back into the studio with this awesome Christian children's book and all the artwork that we would need for it. And we know we can't use that artwork.
We got to find an illustrator.
And 2, it's too flawed of artwork, even if we could use it for commercial use, that the artwork actually is now most likely giving an illustrator a job. So I actually think it's expanding the reach for people to kind of create concepts and then go to illustrators and animators and graphic designers to actually possibly get more work. I don't know if it's going to stay that way in the future, but I know now we have like a full children's book that I want to go find an illustrator for in the future. And that's an interesting idea.
Mac Black said, you guys are too optimistic about AI. It is more than copying existing content. It will soon be able to resonate in a way we won't comprehend. Excellence said, I'm a designer. AI can never replace me, but it does take some of my tasks off my hands. Artists are less secure because art is subjective provoking. Design is more objective. That's good.
I like that. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. I think it's, you even type in a concept into any of these things, and it gives you 4 concepts. It gives you 4 images based off of your prompt. So if you're a designer, if you're an illustrator, and it gives you 4 different composition styles that you might be like, oh, I'm going to go for this style. And then you redo it in a way better way.
Listen, I remember I was in a small group 15, 20 years ago, maybe 17 years ago. And we had read Every Young Man's Battle, Every Man's Battle. Which were good, but long story short, we were all getting engaged and getting married. And so we came up with this concept for a book called How to Break Out of the Friend Zone. And it was basically like Red Pill before Red Pill was a thing.
For real?
Yeah, like it was like it was like teaching men how to stop getting friend zoned by girls. Like, y'all, you're too nice. You're the nice guy's trash. Wow. Like, stop being needy, right? And just walking people through, because all of us had like literally went from getting friend zoned in our last couple of relationships to transitioning into getting into serious relationships and getting engaged. And I think I may have just gotten married at the time. So this whole men's Bible study, we had this concept, how to break out of the friend zone. And I remember somehow we found out that the editor / co-writer of one of the Every Young Man's Battles, or over all of the Young Man's Battles, was in Encinitas, and he ended up coming and like hanging out at one of our Bible studies, and we got like a quote from him to edit the book.
How much was it?
At the time, it was like $3,000. It wasn't even that much.
No, that's not that bad.
Right? And so back then, I couldn't even imagine having software that I could talk
It's just like, here's
and it would transcribe my words. No. Just transcription alone wasn't a thing.
Transcription, yeah.
You could do that on your iPhone now. You could literally talk. We have Descript, which we take these podcasts and we could take this exact conversation. We could literally transcribe it into a thing.
Word for word.
Word for word. Cleaner than ever. Might be a couple errors here or there. And then we could take that transcription. First of all, that step one is insane. The fact that that's easy now is nuts.
Yes.
Then we could take that transcription of, say, this conversation, drop it into ChatGPT and say, now, I don't know what prompts you're giving it, but whatever, make this into a newsletter.
Yeah.
Right? And then we could take it and
I'm not
edit
giving away
it.
my prompts.
Yeah, and then
That's the magic.
But then the last step of it for us would still be get an actual, like, hire an actual editor.
Yeah.
To do that. That entire process is groundbreaking for people like me who are trash at writing, because I didn't really learn how to read until like 8th grade, 9th grade, because English is my second language. Awful at reading, right?
And low key, like the average person is kind of trash at speaking too.
Right.
Like, you might be a good communicator, but once you put on paper, you're like, what was I saying? What was I even?
Right.
You read it, how you speak is crazy.
And so the fact that someone like me who has great ideas can take my ideas, speak them out in this format, transcribe them, get some help with making it flow better, then hire an editor to clean it up is 100 times better than someone ghostwriting my book.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? And so
and spending $30K on it and taking 6 months, yada yada. Like, we have been working on your book and you've just been talking through it podcast style. And then I took it. I just did this with chapter 1 today. Threw it in there, got the transcription into script, and then would paste like 3 or 4 paragraphs at a time into ChatGPT 4. And I had to work out a few different prompts, but essentially said like, edit this and write it into a book format, be a professional editor, use a lot of the same transcription language in the original transcription, so it still sounds like Ruslan, and then make it sound casual, like not too wordy, whatever. And so I almost got chapter 1 done. That's about 3,000 words right now within an hour and a half, maybe an hour, and it's probably 80%. There's still some weird like fumbly, just not sounding like you words. Maybe it's 90%, where then we're gonna go hire an editor who doesn't have to write the whole book out, because that's a whole
rewrite the whole book, which is what editors also do.
Well, yeah, the transcription, someone would still have to write the book. That just gives them the concept and the ideas of how to structure the paragraphs.
Right.
But like, we can give them the book that was written using ChatGPT from the original transcription, and then they can go through and like add in your language again and chop out things, add in more paragraphs, fix it up. So
yeah,
it's kind of groundbreaking.
It's
kind of awesome.
I think it's groundbreaking. Hey, this is a segment from our daily after party stream. Consider partnering with us online for as little as $5 a month to get access to these daily after party streams completely unedited. You'll also get access to our podcast as they are streamed live into the community before anyone else gets to see them, get to interact with our guests, get access to our private Discord server, and a discount code for our store for as little as $5 a month. Ultimately, that will help towards helping us continue contextualizing the gospel using media and podcast here on YouTube. All right, I'll see you over there. Peace.